Good Good morning and welcome to Market Cafe with me Ankur Mishra and Kanishka Sarkar in a show where we will tell you all the details, all the stocks that matter to you before opening of market. Good morning Kanishka. Let's get started with US markets. It was a muted day.
Well, absolutely, Ankur. First of all, a very good morning to you. It was, in fact, a tough session for the three major averages on Wall Street. The S&P 500 ended a six-day winning streak, while the nasdaq Composite saw its first negative day in three. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell more than 100 points, breaking a three-day positive streak. Now, this slide in most of this slide was most in this influential group, that is the big tech. It weighed on trading, with Alphabet being down about 1.5% amid the company's developer conference. Tesla Inc., on the other hand, was the only mega cap gaining, as Elon Musk said he's committed to leading the electric vehicle giant 5 years from now. Now, the overall downtrend does mark a pullback amid a major recovery rally for US equities. Investors had been cheering progress on trade deals following President Trump's announcement of broad and steep tariffs last month. However, all three major averages are still above where they were as on April 2nd, the day Trump announced the tariffs. The S&P 500 is now up on the year, a sharp reversal after at one point falling on an intraday basis into the bear market territory, a term referring to a decline of at least 20% from a recent high. Meanwhile, investors are continuing to monitor Washington for updates on the budget bill and federal deficit. But how does it look on the oil front, Ankur?
The news reports about potential strike on Iranian nuclear facility by Israel is actually keeping oil prices busy. But yesterday, it did edge lower due to uncertainty in the US-Iran negotiations and Russian-Ukraine peace talks, while the new government data delivered a cautious outlook for the top crude importer. China's economy, Brent futures actually slipped around 0.24% yesterday to close at $65 a barrel. Similarly, US WTI crude prices also fell 13 cents to $62.5. This as Iran has voiced doubts about whether nuclear talks with US will lead to an agreement or not, as per local reports. As Tehran actually reviews a proposal to hold a fifth round of negotiations, which is ongoing. On the other hand, prices were capped by US President Donald Trump, indicating that he was not ready to join Europe with fresh sanctions to pressure Moscow, while President Putin and Ukraine would immediately start negotiations for a ceasefire. Piling more pressures on oil prices was data showing decelerating industrial output growth and retail sales in China, the world's top oil importer, with analysts expecting a slowdown in fuel demand. I would also request the current prices of crude to be flashing on your screen. It is hovering around $66 a barrel if you talk about Brent crude. Similarly, WTI crude actually settled around 63. Gold prices, on the other hand, rose more than 1% as US dollar weakened further and stocks slipped amid uncertainty over US tariff policy and a potential ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. If you talk about spot gold prices, that was up 2% at around 3,300 level an ounce, and US gold futures settled 1.6% higher at $3,284. This comes as the dollar slipped yesterday, weighed down by the Federal Reserve's caution over the economy, having sold off broadly on Monday after rating agency Moody's downgraded the US sovereign rating one notch down from AAA to AA1 on Friday due to concerns on nation's growing debt, and that followed on stocks too.